Hi, boys and girls. This is another fun-filled episode of Neuronymous. I am very, very pleased to have an amazing guest, as always. They're always amazing. Why can't they be spectacular? You know? Why can't they just be freaking awesome? So we're just going to say, you know what? We got a spectacular fucking guest today, and I'm going to keep this short because I don't know too much about her, but I do know that she has written several blog-style articles for some online magazines, and she has published her debut novel called Live Shadows. It's horror. And I've read part of it. I was not able to finish it, but what I read of it, it was just edge of your seat. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's good I didn't finish it because that way I won't, fuck things up and spoil things for everybody. Because I am want to do that sometimes. So, but yeah, this is definitely about our guest. Her name is H.D Raye. I'm really excited. I love talking to authors. For me, it's less about the novel itself than it is. I like to know about, an author's writing process. What got them there? What gets them going? What's the process? So, yeah, I'm really pleased to have her on the show, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of the times, I usually have people that I kind of know, like I haven't, I'm not, I have some sort of inkling of who they are and, what they're about. I try and, I have some sort of connection to them. I have no connection to Mrs. Raye, so this will be kind of an adventure for me because, like I said, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I don't really know her. I don't know her at all. So, but that being said, I'm very pleased to introduce her, and I will be. It's going to be a Skype interview, so she's not with me right now physically, but perhaps her live shadow will be. That would be interesting, right? That'd be kind of cool, No, maybe not. All right. Well, anyway, she will be on shortly, and we will chat it up, and hope you guys enjoy the show. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. So, I gotta hit. We're on the Okay, good. We're recording. Yay, we're doing it. Can you?
I can.
All right, good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to see that.
Fine.
We're in Montana, right? Weather over there.
6 below.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah,
So pretty, yeah.
I'm in Minnesota. It was -50 last week.
Oh, we haven't gotten that bad. Around -26 was
Yeah.
this weekend, yeah.
So, man, I'm still reading your book. I haven't finished it, but I gotta say, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. Like the idea, well, for starters, my car wouldn't start last week, so just that I feel like I already lived that experience already. So it's kind of like, I'm like, well, I think I could handle that part. I could, but the rest of the stuff, the sinks and I guess maybe I think the best thing to start would be maybe tell the audience what the book's about in your own words.
I would say Live Shadows is the personification of the ugliest sides of humanity. So, hate and anger and fear.
Yeah.
And how that spreads among people, and it brings out the monsters in them.
Yeah.
So I would ultimately say it's kind of a story about life.
Yeah, right. And it certainly fits our political climate right now, for sure. We don't. I try to avoid talking about politics, but yeah. So I gotta. So like, what got you? I mean, what inspired you to start this story? I mean, to write this novel. I mean, because I've written a few screenplays, and like I needed to take a class to get, as an impetus for me to start anything, So at what point were you just like, I need to write a novel about this?
Well, yeah, I've been writing my whole life. I finished my first novel when I was 13. But I would say at the time, and looking back, it closely resembled plagiarism
Oh,
at 13.
hey, that's okay. It's okay.
But I have been writing my whole life. It was just kind of an outlet for myself.
Yeah.
And I had, teachers and professors telling me that I should be doing this in the real world. So I started this. My daughter's 14 now. I started when she was about 2.
Wow.
I was working full time. I had my daughter. I was married. A lot of life. And then I would convince myself that I wasn't a good writer, and so that's why it took so long to get it out there.
Yeah, we're good at that kind of stuff, right? Like being like, shit, we can't do this. Who are we kidding ourselves?
But this particular novel, I'm a pantser to the core. I do not plan. I sit down, I write, I go back the next day to see what happened.
Yeah.
And that's just how my method is. I just write what's inside at that time, and I go
Yeah.
back and edit and fine tune the details. And but yeah, I sat on this novel for over 10 years.
Wow.
And I finally entered it into a contest a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
I made the top 5.
Nice.
They said I needed to change my ending. My ending
What?
was horrible.
Was it?
Awful.
I haven't gotten there, so no spoilers. So.
So I changed my ending, and now I am so proud of this book. So.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, and I like the fact that even this Sam character, clearly not a good guy. I mean,
He was my favorite to write, actually.
well, no, and those are usually the people that are the worst are the most fun to write, because you just like what. I curse a lot, so if any of my cursing, I mean, obviously there's some cursing in the book, but I mean, the more fuckery, the better, And
my grandmother read my book, and I was so scared for my grandma to read it.
Oh no.
She, there are some R-rated scenes in my book for sure, and she didn't have any problem with those, but she wondered why there was cursing.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I said, well, when you have a character like Sam,
Yeah.
he's not gonna go, aw shucks,
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, my mom, like, thank God, somebody was talking about my podcast, like, they're like, what, does your mom listen to your podcast? I'm like, no. And she was, and he was like, well, what if she does? I'm like, well, I guess I don't know. And he goes, well, you go on a lot of rants about her. I mean, do you think maybe that might be? And I was like, if I didn't go on a rant about my mother, there would be no podcast. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? So like, I've given up to that point where I just like, I don't really care who listens. The podcast is for me. You know what I mean? It's like, just like I'm sure is when you're writing, it's not, I mean, maybe you are writing for an audience, but you're also writing for yourself because you want, it lights something up inside of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of actually scary that, I feel as writers, there's little pieces of characters in all of us.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of scary when you have a character like Sam.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah.
So that there is a piece of me in Sam that I have not done some of the things he's done, obviously.
I hope not. Yeah, but well, and the fact, I think it's a testament to your writing that for a little while there's like a small period of time where you're kind of like, you kind of feel I mean, I don't want to say I feel bad for him, but you're kind of like you side with him for a little bit.
Yes.
What I read, you're kind of like okay, I'm gonna follow this guy. This guy, maybe there's something here, and but yeah, no, I just the whole thing, like because my wife and I, we live in like 100-year-old house, so like at any point everything could just come crumbling down. Our water could stop. That, like that whole thing with my dishwasher that I was talking about earlier, I was just like, oh shit, what's going on now? So yeah. So when all things cease to work, that's when panic ensues. And I like that concept. There was a movie back in like the 90s called The Trigger Effect with Kyle MacLachlan, and I think Elizabeth Shue and Dermot Mulroney were in it. But basically it's just this mass power outage, and they've got kids that need medications, and there's like this whole scene where the dad has to like slink behind the pharmacy, in the where all the medicines are, and steal the medication because kid's gonna die. But so no, I mean, it's a very intriguing concept of the when all things fail, what it brings out in us.
I'm a big fan of apocalyptic.
Oh yeah.
Movies and books.
Sure.
I like seeing the human spirit rise. And
yeah.
So that's just something that's really driven me with Five Shadows, and to see how people in the worst circumstances, how they
Right.
can grow or how they can fall apart. So.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I don't know, it was yesterday or the night before, there was like this, I was at my friend, my wife's out of town, and I was at my friend Stacy's, and like all of a sudden the power went out for like it might have been like 5 seconds, and I was like, oh my god, what do we do? And it was like 5 seconds, like everything just went black for 5 seconds, and then I came home, and I was like it's an apartment thing or whatever, and I come home and I'm like, I see all the clocks are just off, and I'm just like, boy, am I glad this didn't happen while I was in my house. Like I've been called I don't I love our house, but it's so big and like old, and the keys that you have to open up the doors look like the old style keys, like skeleton keys and stuff like that. And, I mean, that's how old it is, and I get scared going down the basement in this house. You know what I mean? Like it's and so So when my wife is out of town and there's a power outage, I'm just kind of like, shit. What do I do now? What I think the key to it is having, for me, I am not. It's complete gender, roles. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, reversal. Thank you. That's why you're the writer and I'm the podcaster. Yeah. My wife is she does all the handy person stuff, and I remember the first time she and I met, we moved in together, it was this thing where she was using a drill to do something with it. I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm using a drill. And I'm like, you know how to do that? And she was like, yeah, it's called using a drill. And I'm like, so I was like, how do you know how to do that? And she's like, because people taught me how to do it, and I remember she showed me how to use a hammer and a nail. I'm Jewish. We leave all that stuff to the Gentiles. I'm sorry. So I just remember, I just remember my wife showing me how to use a hammer, and I was like, look, honey, look at that. And she's like, yeah, you're good. Okay. But anyway, I digress. Sorry. My podcast tends to be all over the place, so just bear with me. But who do you? I mean, as far you mentioned that you like apocalyptic novel stuff, and people rising. I mean, who would you say? I mean, as far as your influences. I mean, who are your favorite authors? I mean, who got who's inspired you to take on such a huge endeavor like writing a novel? I mean, who are the people that brought you there?
I started out with R.L. Stein.
Wow, yeah. No, hey. He's... Yeah.
I moved on to Dean Koontz and Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
Stand is one of my favorite books.
Yeah.
I love this
Yeah. You know, there's
I hear it's becoming a mini series.
yeah, yeah. And the thing is, like, I don't know why. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some hokey moments in like the one that came out in God 1994, 95. Jeez.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. When Molly Ringwald was still popular somehow, like they so that goes to tell you how old the movie is. But Gary Sinise, to me, I thought was great in the role of Stu Redman, and I just can't see. I mean, I can't. Matthew McConaughey, maybe I don't know, but I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, to me, it's like, you know, like when they tried redoing The Shining. Why? I mean, I know Stephen King wasn't a fan of the Kubrick version, but it's a classic, you know. Like, but yeah, no, Stephen King is like my I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, whatever and so Stephen King is also in recovery. I don't think I'm breaking anonymity here. I mean, he's pretty, you know, but you know, so he's kind of a hero of mine, not just for his writing, but just his whole life, you know what I mean? But I started out with Dean Koontz and reading Watchers and like Dark Rivers of the Heart and yeah, and yeah. What's that? Hideaway. Oh my God, Hideaway. What a terrible, shitty adaptation of a movie was that with Jeff Goldblum and Christine Lottie. But the book is just absolutely horrible. It's terrible. I mean, it's like my God. It's just, I would say it's probably his scariest novel because it's just like it doesn't involve a monster. It just involves. I mean, you know, I mean, there's some psychic stuff that goes on because they're linked, but I mean, God, how do I remember all this stuff? Like, it's the weirdest things I remember. I think I've read it like 25 years ago. Yeah, but you know, it's the books like that stick with you, you know. But like Stephen King, like, have you read anything by his son, Joe Hill?
I haven't, no.
Oh my God, his son Joe Hill has written several books. One of them is called Horns, where this guy who was like accused of murdering his girlfriend. He's innocent, but he wakes up one morning after a night of debauchery with these horns, and like they bring the truth out of people and stuff like that. And like he goes on this mission to find out who really killed his girlfriend. But he also wrote his most recent novel is called The Fireman. And it's basically it's another post-apocalyptic novel. It's very much like his dad's book, The Stand. It's basically there's this virus that wipes out most of humanity. It's like you get these like yellow gold scales that go up your arm, and you set yourself on fire, basically, you know. And so all of humanity is like basically like burned up, like all, even, you know, Obama, everybody's gone, and basically there's like this school nurse, and it's good versus evil type thing, you know, but it's a long 700-800 page book, but yeah, his name's Joe Hill. The reason he goes by that because he didn't want his dad, you know, his dad to have any influence, you know, but his full name is Joe Hillstrom King. So but if you get a chance, check his stuff out because it's I mean, it's fantastic. But no, I mean, but yeah, I as soon as I read the summary of your book, I was like, oh my God, I need to read this. This sounds amazing, you know. So yeah, so I'm really and I saw, and I was just like, I need to talk to this girl. You know what I mean? Like, because like it's very rare that you know, for me, like I said, it's less about the book than it is about the creative process. I mean, clearly it took you a while to write this book, but I mean, you got it out.
I wrote it. I would say I wrote the book initially in 2 or 3 years, but the revisions, the changes,
Yeah.
the talking myself into doing something with it, that's what took a long
Yeah.
time.
Right. Yeah. It's I've written a couple screenplays, and nothing. You're right. It's all about, like, you know, is it worth it? Is it, you know, is it of any value? I mean, but so yeah, but So you've got this chill cat, you said, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So my cat is not chill. I think my cat is. We've got the most neurotic animals ever. So like, you have a neurotic dog, is what I read, right? Don't you have a neurotic dog? Is that what I read in the bio, right?
Hi.
Hey, I don't know what happened there. Yeah. So yeah. So hold on. Let me go ahead and yeah. Do you see me?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. Like I said, sorry about that. Uh, but anyway, so yeah, I just uh yeah. So I read in your bio that you had a quite the neurotic dog, and
Oh my gosh, my dog.
yeah,
I used to be a dog person.
I definitely am. Yeah, I'm a dog person. I don't, I have a cat, as you saw, but like when it comes to my cat, it's like, um, this is how I got the cat. I had a breakup with a girl before I got married, obviously, and my friends were like, "You should get a cat." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe I'll get a cat someday." And like yeah, and so yeah, hold on, I'm trying to share the screen here. See, I can't see you. That's but
I know my camera is out. It just
it's okay. We'll keep on.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so no, they were like, you should get a cat. I was like, yeah, I'll get a cat someday. And then like a day later, they're like, they ring me up and they're like, we have your cat. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, come on over and get your. There we are. Hey, there we go. All right. So they were like, yeah, here's your cat, and they just hand it to me, and I'm just like, what? Also, still kind of neurotic. We lost her last year, like for a whole week. So we lost her for a whole week and managed to find her. I never thought I'd ever say this in a sentence, but thank God for like tuna and live possum traps. Like seriously, like it was just. But our dog is like he was a rescue animal, and he thinks pretty much everybody's out to kill us. So anytime anybody comes over, he just goes ape shit on everybody. Everybody. There are a couple people that he's okay with, but like for the most part. And then whenever we go to visit my parents, like all he does is try to hump their dogs. Like that's all he does. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, and he has a bad leg, so it's just like it doesn't help things at all. So anyway, but yeah. So what makes your dog so neurotic? I mean, what's he do?
She is a
She.
Californian rescue. She won't walk in snow. So
Oh wow.
that makes things interesting.
Yeah.
She's afraid of just about everything.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. But she's good. She's a good dog.
Well,
She's lazy. Doesn't require much of us, but she just drives me crazy.
yeah. What kind of dog is it?
She's a healer terrier.
Yeah.
Just a mutt. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife and we decided to be idiots for about a week, or actually 2 or 3 weeks, and fostered a litter of 3 to 5 week old puppies, 8 of them, and it was like, it was insanity. I would never like. My wife loves she volunteers at the Humane Society a lot and walks dogs, and like she, like it was like she was like, should we do this? And I was like, I guess. And then I was just like, the moment they were in our car, I was like, nope, bad idea. This is not a good idea. This is a terrible idea. As yeah. So I mean, I guess I'm trying to think here. So, do you have a favorite? So the Stand. You said the Stand's one of your favorites, but do you have like a favorite book like of all time?
Oh my gosh. I'd say it's a cross. And I'm so bad with this author. It just never sticks with me. With the Swan song. I
Oh, Robert McGammon.
Yes,
That's
yes.
in my top 10.
And Wally Lamb, She's Come Undone, also
I've never read that
amazing.
one.
Oh
Is it?
yeah,
It's good.
he
It's
writes in the voice of a woman, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, no, Swan Song is just. I have to say, as much as I love The Stand, I think I like Swan Song just a skosh better. I'm still Minnesotan, skosh better. Yeah, like I feel like it's there. I don't know, like there's a clear. I don't know, like I think it just I felt like it got darker and darker and darker, and I loved it, the fact that it moved the story moved along a little bit. I feel like in The Stand they do a lot of walking, which but in Swan Song, they after without giving away too much, they like in book two of the Swan, within the book because it skips like 7 years or something like that, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not just like this like odyssey where they're just walking and walking and walking. Like it actually, and then there is like that scene in the book, and I'm trying not to spoil too much, but like there's this scene in the shopping store where like there are these like people who are like just these killers, and like they basically give him like 60 seconds to make it through the shopping store to save the girl, if you remember that. And like I just remember reading that, I was like, who is this author and how did he come up with this? Like, and that's I guess that's sort of like my reason for this podcast is just like I said, is just to learn what gets in your head, like where do these ideas come from? Like I mean obviously as we discussed, like I mean just when the power goes out and we lose all the things that we're used to, that's a scary thing. But I mean, can you? I guess my question is, what are your what scares you? As I mean, not just as an author, but I mean, just in general. I mean, what are your biggest fears?
Oh, spiders for sure.
Spiders?
Oh
Wow.
my
Okay.
gosh. I I have like irrational fears. Like I think I'm gonna die in a car.
Mm.
So I, especially on snow and ice, I get very. I live in the wrong part of the country for sure.
Yeah.
So
Me
it
too.
just really stresses me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have parental fears. Like I worry
Sure.
about
You.
my daughter. She's now 14 and she's starting to gain some freedoms. And every minute
Yeah.
she's out of my control, I worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. I would say I'm actually pretty brave. I do things and jump. It takes me a while to jump, but when I jump, I jump.
Yeah.
So publishing my book was a jump for me. I
Yeah.
didn't give myself time to talk myself out of it because I would have.
Sure.
And that was me conquering a fear because putting myself really out there,
Mm-hmm.
I was just sure it was gonna flop.
Yeah.
And I got really good feedback, so I feel like that was something that I got over, and I feel good about it. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
move it forward.
Well, for what it's worth, you are literally the first person I've actually interviewed that I have absolutely no ties with in any way, shape, or form. So, like, there was one art I interviewed a musician, and I never knew her, but like she's from Omaha, which is where I'm from. So there was that kind of like that little thing. But you're literally like the first person that I'm interviewing that I'm just like I have no idea who this person is. This interview could go belly up, and I don't know how I'm doing so far, but things so far I think we're going pretty well. But
You're my first too.
so is this your first podcast?
This is my first interview, first podcast.
And soon to be your last podcast because you're like, Jesus Christ, these guys.
First time using Skype.
Yeah, I know. Skype, I thought more people, like, I thought more people, like, knew about Skype, but apparently, like, this is like I think my third or fourth Skype interview, and I think I'm getting better. Like, but yeah, I mean, what I was originally doing before the Skype thing happened was, this is so weird. Like, I didn't even know that, because the sound quality in Skype is so much better than, like, just like speakerphone. But what I was doing was, I had a selfie stick and I was jimmy rigging. I was like literally using tape to use the selfie stick, and taping the selfie stick to the edge of the table, and putting my phone on speaker, and putting so it aimed directly into the mic. And those episodes, I'm just like, oh my god, you can barely hear them. But with Skype, you can. Sound quality is amazing. But no, I just it's this podcast, like it's weird. I am not a people person at all. But like I'm fascinated. But yeah, at the same, I don't like interacting with people, which is weird because hello. But at the same time, I'm fascinated by people. You know what I mean? I love to people watch. You know what I mean? Like, and I think the fact that I work in customer service kind of reinforces my hatred of people. I've worked in customer service for about 6 years, and like I'm just kind of, and I kind of have this whole thing where I hate people, but.
I totally get it. Before I moved back here,
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a certain satellite company.
Yep. Well, I call my company the Monolith. I never say what company I work for. Just yeah.
I worked in the billing department.
Yeah.
And I saw a whole lot of ugly in the billing department. So
Mm-hmm.
I was not very good at it because I don't like being yelled at. And I would say 6 months. I was there for 6 months.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, here, the thing with me is, like, I worked for a different company for like almost a decade, and I always used to say to myself, "Oh man, I'd never be thick-skinned enough to work in customer service." And here I am, 6 years later. 6 years later, but like at the same time, like I think as much as I have a disdain for people, it's really helped me with my marriage in the sense that like I know how to. It's taught me how to empathize, and I think my wife is kind of on to me at this point. She'll be like, "Don't you try to position me. I'm not a customer." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I guess that backfired on me." So now are you're married, right? You're or is that off the table? I mean, I don't want to.
No, it's fine. I'm getting married in May.
Mazel tov.
Thank you. And
Jew.
We've been together for just celebrated 4 years. And
That's awesome.
We lived together for the last 2.
Yeah.
I pretty much think of him as my husband, but we're making a legal in May. So.
That is so awesome. That's awesome. Well, I expect an invitation, so I'm just kidding. No, absolutely not. No, yeah. My wife and I, we don't get out much. We're going to Chicago, which we live in Minnesota, right? So we're gonna go to Chicago in June, and so that's about as far as we go. I don't think I've been on an airplane in over a decade at this point because it's just too expensive. So we either go to Chicago or we go to Omaha, Nebraska, which is where I'm originally from. So yeah.
I've been to Minnesota a couple times. My best friend used to live near the big giant spoon and cherry in Minneapolis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and now she lives at White Bear. I've not been to her new home, but
Oh, White Bear, Minnesota?
yeah.
Oh, I know where that is. Yeah, my father-in-law, I think, lived there for a little while. He lives in a group home. Well, not anymore. Now he lives in independent living. But anyway. But yeah, but no, that's really weird. Yeah, Minnesota, I lived the first 30 years of my life in Nebraska, and I thought it was bad, but you go to Minnesota, that's like a whole other, whole level of fuckery when it comes to the weather. I felt like Robert Patrick in Terminator 2 when he gets sprayed with the liquid nitrogen going outside. I was like, so. But yeah, no, this podcast has been going on since October 8th. So, and you're now, I think, my 44th guest, or not guest, 44th episode.
Congratulations.
Well, some of them are better than. I mean, some episodes are better than others. So some of them have just been solo episodes where I just talk. Basically, I'm just like talking my issues out to nobody whatsoever, and and that's okay. I think my wife kind of has this attitude, like he does his thing, and like she doesn't listen to my podcast, which may also be a good thing too. But yeah, I mean, it's like I never really thought. I never even, to be honest, like a year ago, I didn't even really know what a podcast was. And Matt talked to me about them. Oh, you should listen to podcasts. And then I watched I have Netflix, and I watched the show Glow, which is one of a friend growing up. She's one of the head writers of the show, and I watched the show, and Marin is on it, and he has a podcast, and he's like this really angry, neurotic Jewish guy, and I was just like, well, hell, I can do that. So, like, I just was like, I wanted to start a podcast, so somebody got me the equipment, and almost October, November, 3 months later, 4 months later, here we are. So,
October,
yeah. So clearly my math skills have not improved. But no. So, what do you, as far as for the future? I mean, are you going to go on tour to promote the book? I mean, what's on tap besides getting married?
I'm working on a new novel.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I have a title called Butterfly Artist.
Nice.
I'm trying not to follow the same, end of the world.
Right.
Trying for human survival. But I'm actually finding it kind of challenging not to try to kill my main character. So I'm trying to develop it a little bit more into be a different genre.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty challenging for me not to try to kill something. So we'll see.
I'm trying not to kill my marriage, so that's but that's a different story. But,
But no, I'm not thinking tour right now. I'm really just getting my name out there. I found a great writing community on Twitter.
Yeah.
And that's where I do most of my networking, and I think that's how most people have heard about Live Shadows.
Yeah.
The ones who have read it, and that seems to be working pretty well. And I have a small Facebook following, but I don't find Facebook nearly as effective as Twitter.
I found you, right?
You found me through Facebook.
I did, yeah. I know. So doing something right on Facebook. But yeah, no, yeah. But and honestly, I rather interview an author who is just kind of starting, because interviews. Not that I'll tell you what. Here's the little. I tried to get an interview with Stephen King. Ha ha ha.
Just read my book.
What? What's that?
I'm trying to get him just to read my book.
Wouldn't that be cool? But his personal assistant, actually emailed me back and said Steven's not doing any interviews right now, and he doesn't do Skype. And I was like, at first I was like, oh damn, and I was like, yes, I'm like 1 degree away from Stephen King now. And then I actually had the nerve to be like, do you want to do an interview? like his assistant, because I'm sure she's got plenty of stories to tell, And she was like, nah, I'm good. This is like, okay, well, can't blame a guy for trying. But yeah, well, that's awesome that you're thinking about starting a book. So that's, I would love to write another screenplay, but I don't know, I always feel like there's something holding me back as far as a mental block. I mean, I have all these ideas, but they never, I can't put them out, you know what I mean? And I imagine that's probably 3/4 of the battle. It's just getting it out there. Getting it on the page.
I think for me, it's just sitting down at a computer.
Yeah, right.
Again, I call her my evil twin, and she's in my head, and
She have a
tells
name?
me all the horrible things that's going on in life, writing and everything. And it's just that matter of silencing her long enough to sit down, and then things start happening. If I just can sit down, but it doesn't happen nearly as much as I would like it to. But I'm using Live Shadows just as a learning tool for me.
Sure.
For writing the book, and I've learned so much about publishing because as an indie writer, I had to learn a whole lot that I didn't even know I had yet. I didn't know what trim and bleed and all that meant.
Right. No, there are things like where they're like, like boosting your like page on Facebook, and like there's like this thing where you can boost like your page, and I'm just like, I'm not paying for that. Like, call me cheap. I don't know. Like, I'm just like, I'll figure a way to get people to listen. If people want to listen, they'll listen. You know what I mean? Like, and I've got 40 subscribers, and and that's okay with me. Like, I mean, I don't really, like I said, I mean, I could have like 1,000 subscribers, and at the end of the day, like, I'd be like, that's cool, but again, my cat's sneezing in the background. Jesus. Yeah, it's real. It's really for me, like I said, and and learning new things, and like I said, I interview somebody like you who's just starting, and like just like wants and is really eager and excited and not jaded about. They're putting their all into their work because they know it. They you know what I mean? Like you're putting your all into your work because that this is it's either gonna make you or could make you or break you, and it's like a experiment, and I like that concept, like I could talk to somebody named to maybe Dean Koontz or something like that, and honestly I'd probably get a lot of platitudes and cliches and like about but like I like learning about new writers because that gives other writers, I want my podcast to touch other people too. You know what I mean? Like, to inspire them. And what you're doing. I mean, just talking about this, you're inspiring. Once this goes out, you're gonna be inspiring people to put the pen to the paper. So, I mean, I think that's phenomenal, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and just and being so kind to do that, and
I appreciate the invite. For sure.
Do you have any? I guess I always do this, but do you have any like words of wisdom as far as like for somebody? I always do this. Yes, I know it's so cliche. Do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, anything that you could to somebody who like me? I guess that it's just like, God, I want to do this, but I just don't know how. I mean, is it any words of wisdom?
I would say, you gotta ignore that voice in your head.
Yeah.
The one, and even external voices. Often it's family and friends trying to talk you out of your dreams. So you have yourself and them that you have to kind of and just write. And if you write a paragraph or you write 20 pages, you're making progress. And that's the important thing. I mean, like I said, it took me a really long time to get past just those obstacles.
Right.
Not listening to the external voices and the internal voice, and talking myself out of my own dream. And you have to not do that.
Yeah.
So as long as you're writing, you're making progress.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. And then when you get finished with it, you have to be able to believe in it enough to put it out there.
Yeah.
And understand that there's going to be
criticism.
Some people who don't like it, and there's going to be some people who absolutely love it. It's very subjective.
It's great.
And you can't let that talk you out of your dream either.
Right. You gotta,
You know what makes you feel alive, and you know that passion that makes your soul light on fire. You just pursue that, and you ignore everything else.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you again for being on the show. Can I call you by your name? Can HD? um, but oh no, we're back.
How old are
We're
you?
back. Well,
Okay.
again, th- thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and I wish you continued success. I really do.
Thank you.
I really hope this works for you, and then things take off, and good luck with and again from a Jew to you, Mazel Tov on the wedding and the nuptials coming up, and I really I wish you the best, and I'm very grateful that to have had you on the show, and uh, you're gonna be great, man.
Oh,
You,
thank you so much. And I really would love to hear what you think when you get to the end of the book.
Yes, when I get to the end of the show, the end of the book, I will definitely I will give you my opinion, and I'm sure it will be positive because so far so good. So and try not to kill anybody, okay?
I'll try not to kill my main characters.
All right. Well, hey, Heather, thanks so much, and you have a great rest of your weekend. And again, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Bye. And that was H.D. Raye, author of Live Shadows. You can find that on Amazon and read it on Kindle. I didn't I have yet to finish the book, but she is an absolute sweetheart, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to interview her. And it's just writing is hard. I mean, I trust me, I've been there. Writing is not easy. I mean, because there's so much self doubt, because you never know, are people gonna like this? Are people not gonna like this? But you gotta follow your heart, and like with this podcast, even I'm not even writing anything. This is me just like putting stuff out there, for you guys to listen to, and if and hopefully you guys like it, and if you don't like it, well, I mean, you don't have to listen to it. Fuck y'all. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but no, I really hope that you guys enjoyed yourselves, enjoyed the interview. I thank Heather for being on the show, and I really hope you guys have a great weekend, and stay warm. Yeah, I hope you guys if you're in the Midwest, stay warm. If you're in Florida, stay cool. I don't know why I'm talking about the weather. We've succumbed to the weather. I don't know what's going on with that. But as always, just enjoy yourselves, enjoy each other, follow your dreams, even if it's just one day at a time.